very good Sunday morning to you. Many thanks for joining us on the broadcast. This Sunday, the 10th day of May 2020, we want to wish all the mothers, wonderful mothers and mother figures out there, a happy Mother's Day. May you continue to be blessed. Here on the broadcast this morning, we want to focus on the role of the legislature in this democracy that is Kenya today. We want to put a special focus on the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, very powerful committees that have in the past produced two presidents so far, Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta. Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have also served in the powerful Public Accounts Committee. Now we want to focus on the Senate Public Accounts and Investments Committee, where events of the last few days have seen the ODM party de-whip the Narok Senator Ledama Ole Kina from that committee, as well as the Senate's House Business Committee, because of not towing party lines, because the party wanted Kisii Senator Professor Sam Ongeri instead. Just what does this mean? Was the ODM party right to de-whip the Narok Senator from this powerful position? We want to get all in this and discuss what are some of the demerits of this powerful watchdog committee of the Senate. Also, global agency Moody's has changed Kenya's credit rating from B2 stable to B2 negative, meaning that Kenya has now a negative credit listing outlook. It will be more difficult now for Kenya to get credit from the international market. We understand. We're trying to engage economists to try and see what this means. Also, this means that it will be difficult for foreign investors to trust this country because the ease of doing business has gone up. We want to take a look at what this means. And Modi says this has been occasioned by Kenya's rising debt burden. We'll also get into this. My panelists are here with me to try and take a look at what's happening. I'm Ben Kitili. This is Inside Politics. Be sure to stick with us for the next 2 hours or so as we try to delve into some of these policy issues and the politics this Sunday morning. I have with me Dismas Makua, political risk analyst. I have with me lawyer Kenneth Chesa, as well as lawyer and political strategist Kipchumba Karori, as well as communication strategist Mark Bichachi. We also have in the show this morning Jerotich Sei, humanitarian and development consultants. We shall be trying to dissect these issues for you, so don't go anywhere. Let's get right into it. The Raila Odinga-led ODM party is wading through a storm, has been wading through a storm after the party resolved to kick out Narok Senator Ledama Ole Kina from the County Public Accounts and Investments Committee. It's coming just days after Ole Kina's election to chair the powerful Senate Watchdog Committee. The decision was announced by the Senate Minority Leader, Siaya Senator James Orengo, in a letter to Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka. KTN Moremi Mwangi has a look at the latest for us.
In politics, they say there are no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. A rather old political adage whose reality has recently hit first-time ODM elected Narok Senator Ledama Ole Kina, who is now on the verge of losing chairmanship of the County Public Accounts and Investments Committee, barely 3 days after his election to chair the powerful Senate Watchdog Committee, against the wishes of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga-led ODM party.
I did not go against the party. The truth shall always set me free. One of the most important things for people to realize is that for me to become even a member of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, an election was held.
In a letter to House Speaker Kenneth Lusaka, Senate Minority Leader James Orengo, citing Standing Order 190, gave notice of discharge and removal of Ole Kina from ISPAC as well as the Senate Business Committee. The said standing order subsection 2 directs that the chairperson of the House Business Committee, in this case Speaker Lusaka, is to convey the same to the relevant committee, and that the said notice takes effect upon its receipt by the chairperson or vice chairperson if the discharge relates to the person chairing the committee. Ironically, Ledama was elected chair, deputized by Kiambu Senator Kimani Wamatangi, who has already vouched his support for the Narok senator. Earlier in a tweet, Ole Kina said Orengo's letter should be treated with contempt, saying he was already chairing his second meeting since his election to chair the committee, adding that he is being fought because the committee is too powerful and he is no pushover.
I was not actually aware that her party had a position, and it has never been that her party has a position in it, because it's about the members. It's not about the party, people, forces out there to determine who to be the chair.
Chairmanship of the committee is a preserve of the minority party or coalition, in this case the ODM-dominated National Super Alliance. Just like National Assembly Public Accounts Committee and the Public Investments Committee.
Okay, order members.
However, unlike in the National Assembly, where the standing orders were amended to give majority membership to the minority side in both committees, at the Senate, CPIC is Jubilee dominated, with 5 senators against 4 opposition members. Changes Orengo says the ODM party has already instituted through a team led by Busia Senator Amos Wako, with a view to conclude before a fresh resolution on the leadership of CPIC. Ole Kina had beat Kisii Senator Sam Ongeri, despite Ongeri having the ODM's blessings and support of Migori Senator Ochilo Ayako, who quit the race in the last minute. The standoff prolonging wrangles in the once formidable NASA coalition, where ODM has been on the receiving end, accused by coalition partners Wiper, Ford Kenya and ANC of bully tactics, including locking out members from among the coalition parties into the powerful watchdog committee.
I'm personally not very pleased that we went into a committee to quarrel amongst ourselves, because from what I have seen, even from the majority side, they're congratulating Senator Ole Kina in such a sarcastic way that they are making a mockery of us.
When we went into the elections yesterday, we had 3 members from our party who were interested in becoming chair. By design, it is only our party which could have become the chairperson, because that is what the standing orders say. So when we went there, you know, I didn't even know that I was going to be nominated.
The party is very robust, and there are systems within the party that can correct this. It is not about name calling, back and forth, oh, so and so, this and that. But this you expect in politics. And even now, we are 2 years to elections. You are likely to see a lot more jostling.
ODM has vowed to make good its decision to kick out Ole Kina, and with the Narok Senator's backyard critical to Odinga's pro-building bridges initiative campaigns, birthed by his 2018 ceasefire deal with President Uhuru Kenyatta. The standoff is no doubt poised to intensify, with the Deputy President William Ruto's right-hand man and Majority Leader in the Senate Kipchumba Murkomen now seeking amendment of parliamentary standing orders to leave chairmanship of the committee open to both pro-government and opposition senators.
Wakati anaingia hapa uwanjani.
Murimi Mwangi, KTN News.
All right, it is the powerful Senate's Public Accounts and Investments Committee. It is the committee that watches over devolution in this country, basically, seeing over the billions sent out to the 47 counties. It is not the first time, let me begin with you, Ken, we are seeing, you know, somebody being purged out of a committee or position in either sides or in either houses, the National Assembly or the Senate. In the beginning of this parliament, we did see Jubilee itself de-whip 3 members. That was the Nandi Hills legislator, Alfred Keter, as well as his counterparts from Moi Ben and Marakwet East, that is Silas Tiren and Kangogo Bowen. Also, and then minority leader in the Senate, James Orengo, came into that position after another purge of the Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula from being minority leader in the Senate. What are your initial thoughts with this?
My initial thoughts is that party loyalty has deteriorated in Kenya's democracy. We've seen situations where members of parliament, both Senate and National Assembly, get to their positions and disregard their party positions and their party engagements. I want to say that Senator James Orengo and the ODM party is justified in de-whipping Senator Ole Kina for the following reasons. One, Kenya is a democracy, and in a democracy where we have a party system, party loyalty is very, very important. It is for party loyalty that the party agenda can be pushed through in either houses. When we have a scenario where members of a party can do as they wish, this one kills party democracy, this one kills party loyalty, and the parties then become susceptible for purchase, for party renting by the government or any other institution that can pay members of the party. And therefore, an oversight role is so crucial to be left in the hands of individual members. PIIC, that committee, is not an ordinary committee like a culture committee or any other committee. It is a committee that forms the cornerstone of the role of parliament, which is oversight. And therefore, it was important for the ODM to have a party position, to know who can advance this party interest, who can do oversight in the uniform that has been tailored by the party. And therefore, for Ole Kina to go and talk to senators from the government side with the view of becoming the chair was utter betrayal.
But Ken, there are those, Bonakili, there are those who see party lines as being very blurry in the past 2 years or so, ever since that handshake, where you cannot differentiate the minority party from the majority party.
The handshake, in my opinion, is between the president and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. This should not descend to Parliament and kill the spirit for which Parliament is established. Members of Parliament and their parties must continue discharging their duties as though there was no handshake. The handshake, Ben, is not anchored in law. It's a local arrangement between Odinga and Kenyatta. This should never be seen in Parliament.
All right. Dismas, what is your take on this, the events of the last few days, the de-whipping or purge, as some are calling it, inside the ODM party?
Well, initially, there was a suggestion that there's a storm within ODM, but one can easily say that there's no storm. And what Raila Odinga has tried to do is to instill discipline in his political party. Because for majority of these committees, you serve at the pleasure of the party and the party which nominated you. So when you're sent to any committee, you must be ready at all times to dance to the drum beats as the party leader expects. And if the party has taken a position and you try to pull a divergent view, then the party has got all the responsibilities to kick you out of that committee. And also for Senator Ole Kina to suggest that he's engaged in a fight with Raila Odinga, in my view, that's being very naive. And in Kenya, if you want to take on Raila Odinga in any political fight, you must be sure that you have two things. One, you have financial resources, and you have numbers. The only person who has taken Raila Odinga head-on and won, and is now the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, is William Samoei Ruto. Any other person who has taken Raila head-on, you suffer because of a system. He'll come crashing you. And you've got many people. You've got Danson Mugatana, you've got Ababu Namwamba, just to name two persons. So even for Ole Kina to imagine that what he's done the last couple of days is going to sabotage Raila's popularity within the Maa community, again, is naivety of the highest order. Because Raila Odinga does not need a password from Ole Kina to access the Maa votes. In any event, it's Ole Kina who needs Raila Odinga to access those votes. So when he says that it's a wrong number for Raila to attempt to engage in a fight, again, it expresses his naivety. If he really wanted to get this position, you go look for Raila Odinga and James Orengo and express your interest, tell them how you will pursue the party interest in that committee. But when you start cutting a deal with the political competition, then people may start suspecting that, in fact, you are a mole within the political party and you're not going to advance the ODM party interest.
All right. Before we analyze the politics surrounding this and the impact of this for the ODM party in the Maasai politics, Mark, I want us to talk about what happened in that committee and in the election by the NASA parties. Around 10 people wanted to be chair of this powerful committee, and that included the Kisii senator and the Narok senator. The Narok senator got 14 votes from the rest of the affiliate parties, and the two of them went for it. And the Senate committee, as constituted, voted for Ole Kina. Where does this leave? At what point did ODM decide that it wants Professor Sam Ongeri to chair this committee, in your opinion?
Ben, it is my considered opinion that the stance that ODM took was based on the idiom that the enemy of my enemy is my friend and the friend of my enemy is my enemy. As soon as Ole Kina had support from a certain wing of Jubilee, then ODM took the stance that this is indeed a breach of trust and an act of basic insubordination of the party. What do I mean? As far as ODM is concerned, its greatest enemy is embodied in the personalities within the Tanga wing of Jubilee. The moment there was any association, any support, any move towards getting that support, then ODM had no choice than to respond this way. Let me put it to you in perspective. The seat, the chairmanship of that particular committee does not belong to a senator. It belongs to a political party, or rather a coalition called NASA more specifically. That coalition called NASA has a big brother in it called ODM. Therefore, ODM expected that ODM MPs should vote for themselves, not vote for another, get votes from another side. So basically, if you are supported by Tanga, there is no way on God's green earth, as far as this Kenyan politics is concerned, where ODM will keep you in its ranks. But at the same time, I must congratulate ODM for sticking to party discipline, which is something this country lacks. You cannot be in a political party, go against its leader, and remain there. Let us look at the UK. When Conservative MPs voted against the bills that were supposed to ensure Brexit, they had to step down. They had to leave offices. Now, in Kenya, it's the only place where you are actively in opposition of where exactly you belong. I only wish that Jubilee had the tenacity to employ such discipline, because a lot of the time the leader of majority within the Senate sounds like he's in the opposition.
All right. Let me ask you this, Mark. I talked to the Narok senator, and he said after, the two of them, the two ODM senators, tendered in or expressed their interest for the chairmanship, he campaigned even among the Jubilee senators, and is of the idea that once the Senate committee is constituted, there is no Jubilee, there is no ODM, they are all members of the CPEC. So is there anything wrong, by principle, for him getting votes from the Jubilee senators?
By principle, of course not. By virtue of the tenets of Senate, yes, there is no problem with what he did. But by virtue of the politics of the country, the innuendo of the politics of this country, there is no way on God's green earth that you become an ODM senator, but your existence in Senate is perpetuated by Jubilee. It's not gonna work.
Okay. Jero, let me come to you. Good morning and happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
This committee controls or oversees the billions of shillings that go to the counties in devolution. What do you see in this politics of this chairmanship of the CPEC?
Hi, thanks. Thank you again, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I'd especially also like to say a happy Mother's Day to the First Lady, Second Lady, Her Excellencies Margaret Kenyatta and Rachel Ruto, and also Mama Ida Odinga. I hope to see them more involved in the humanitarian efforts during this time of COVID. Happy mothers, all mothers out there, especially those struggling to keep their children fed. But, back to this issue, the Ledama issue, I sympathize a little bit with him. I do understand that there's party lines that have to be toed and rules and regulations that are in place. But it makes me realize his ousting, that there's very little democracy within ODM. And it also makes me ask myself why it was so important not to have Ledama Ole Kina as the chair. And when you think about Ledama Ole Kina versus Professor Sam Ongeri, perhaps there's a possibility that Ledama is too much of a live wire, too much of a loose cannon, perhaps going to do his own thing, however he wants to use it to leverage whatever powers he may be wielding within the party going forward. And I think for Ledama, it might even actually have been his last hurrah or his Hail Mary, so to speak, because I think the BBI utterances in Narok probably put him on a collision path with ODM leadership. And since then, I think they have had it out for him. So I do tend to feel a little bit for him, but I would also urge the ODM party to consider seriously what democracy means. And I feel like this is being lost. And if you start digging behind and get into the politics and see the individuals behind positioning folks within ODM, these are people who are part of the Second Liberation and so on and so forth. But I do not see ultimately how all of this jostling and politicking allows oversight to happen effectively at county level. We have to protect devolution at all costs, or else there is something, or unless there is something that ODM was actually trying to influence within the county setup that Ledama Ole Kina was not fit for purpose to do.
Right. Let me come to you, Kipchumba. This is what happened. The County Public Accounts and Investments Committee has 9 members. 5 of them come from Jubilee, and 4 of them come from the NASA side, basically ODM. In the voting, Ledama Ole Kina got 5 votes, 4 from 4 of the Jubilee senators and 1 from himself. And then the 3 ODM or NASA senators, excluding himself, voted for Sam Ongeri. And then 1 Jubilee member, that is Murang'a Senator Irungu Kang'ata, voted for Sam Ongeri. Is there anything wrong with that kind of outcome, in your opinion, despite what the ODM party wanted?
Ben, thank you for the opportunity, and then I take this time also to wish all mothers outside there a happy Mother's Day. And the other important thing on the question as to whether it was right for the voting for Ledama to win the chairmanship, that has no problem at all. That is within the right of Ledama as a senator. But you must realize that the principle behind a member being in a committee is on what we call the pleasure principle, whereby you serve at a certain committee on the pleasure of the political party. It is not a right per se. It is a right to earn by being a member of a political party. And being a member of a political party calls for discipline, loyalty, and all other things that comes with owning the ideals of a political party. This is not to say that I think ODM has any ideal or believes in any democracy, but you must give it to ODM. I sympathize with Ledama Ole Kina, but party loyalty comes supreme, because we cannot change this country. We cannot change this country with weak political parties. The other thing that also comes to my mind, 10 years ago, Raila Odinga was serving as a prime minister in this country. He indicted Professor Ongeri and Professor Karega Mutai as being irredeemably corrupt. It is miraculous that 10 years down the line, without any clearance, Raila Odinga believes that Professor Ongeri is now fit to lead charges in Senate against corruption. I think our political parties lack direction at some time. Whereas I congratulate ODM for having something that seems like party democracy and ideology. But at the end of the day, we must ask ourselves, why was Ledama Ole Kina removed from the committee? It is not about party loyalty. It is about his loose cannon. He is a liberal. He is a person who can speak his mind. And from the 10 or 15 years we have seen ODM being here, ODM, Raila Odinga as a person is good in getting young people to power and getting the vibrant people, but he has a problem in nurturing them to fruition. Look at Margaret Langata, Babu Namwamba. Look at Kina Musalia Mudavadi, how they were kicked out of ODM. Even look at William Ruto. All these people point at Raila Odinga being a person who can identify the talent, but he does not have the capacity to nurture that talent. And why Ledama Ole Kina was kicked out is this, because how ODM and how Raila Odinga has carried this thing is in a manner that they want somebody who can be pliable to the interests of Raila Odinga. Ask yourself, Ben, today, Luo Nyanza governors, we have not seen any governor from Luo Nyanza who is meticulous, but we have never seen them being asked this tough question. There was a committee when Kajwang was asking tough questions to Homa Bay governor, but nothing came out of it. The governor told us answers like fishermen disappeared, there was no fish during election, fishermen disappeared. Those outrageous kind of responses, and nothing has been done. The committee did not condemn the governor. So from where I sit, the Committee of Investment and what have you in Senate is just but a rubber stamp. And the more it is being held hostage by the people within Raila Odinga, the better. But for ODM to kick out Senator Ole Kina, that was a right move in terms of political parties' discipline and loyalty.
All right. Thank you for that. Let's take a quick commercial break here on Inside Politics. When we come back, I want us to broaden this out.